Welcome back and welcome to the van tour video. You've all been asking for this.
Sorry it's taken us so long to do it.
We've had the van now over 12 months. We've done 10,500 miles in it already, and we have made quite a few adjustments and tweaks to make it ours.
So now we're used to it and we've lived in it for over a year. We want to take you around and show you the big changes and the little changes that we've made to make it completely ours.
Let's start with the inside, shall we? We have a Swift Kontiki 874. It's a 5-ton motorhome that's 9 metres long. It's got a 2.2 litre engine which kicks out 180 brake horsepower. Up front in the cab, you've got all the buttons on the steering wheel to control your stereo and your phone and what have you like that. The dashboard is fantastic. In this new uprated Fiat model, it's all digital and that looks great. The stereo is great as well. It's a very bright, big screen and it has built-in navigation system, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay built in it as well. We've also got the TomTom Go Camper Max, which is very handy because you can put your dimensions into that, so it'll stop you going down places you're going to get stuck if the motorhome is too big for the road. In placement of the mirror, there's a large screen which has 2 reversing cameras, so really handy if you're backing this up. We've added 2 MagSafe chargers to the windscreen so it can easily charge our phones once we're driving. There's lots of storage in the doors and 2 big cup holders in the centre. And just to the right of the steering wheel, up front in the cab, I've got the controller for the air suspension that we recently had fitted, which is a game changer. We can just press the button and level the van whenever we need it. Or when we're getting onto ferries, I can just push the button and lift the back so we don't bottom out.
In the front lounge, we can turn the captain seats round so we can actually comfortably sit 9 people around this table. The table is a foldy in and out table and can extend. It also drops down to create the base for the bottom double bed that goes right here at night. One of my favourite features of the front lounge is this really lovely big window. There's also some decent storage either side as well.
Over here we've got the Swift control panel, but we also had the air conditioning fitted not long after we got it. And that now appears as an extra button on the control panel, so it interfaces with it. We don't need the remote control, and we can control everything right from this control panel right here. Next to it, you've also got the Audi control, but again, you don't need to use that as a backup maybe, but it can all be controlled. The central heating, the hot water, the air conditioning can all be controlled from here. We've also installed a 24-inch Sharp TV, which is 12 volt and 240 volt, and that is on a swivel stand and comes out so we can be viewing it from anywhere. We've also installed a FireMill fire extinguisher down here. Now these are quite handy because they just take a soda stream cartridge and you give them a quick twist and that can put out the fire. And right here I've installed an Amazon Echo Show 15. So it's a built-in Alexa and it will display our photos. Lindsay uses it for the radio. We have our to-do lists on there. We use it for quite a lot of things and it's really handy. It can also be used now with the latest update, can be used as a Fire TV. So you can watch Netflix and YouTube right there on that.
Now onto the kitchen, and this is one of my favourite areas of the van. So this pops up to give you extra work surface. I was worried when we first got the van that there wasn't a lot of space, but this makes all the difference. Coming into the kitchen, we have a big cupboard here. I keep our dry goods in the bottom. Next shelf is for the plates and bowls that we get from IKEA. They're the hard to break ones, but they are still properly porcelain. And the top shelf is for our cups and mugs, things that aren't actually that tall because there isn't a lot of clearance underneath the sink. Above the kitchen we have 3 cupboards and a flatbread microwave. This is our bread bin mainly. Steve will use it when he's travelling on his own, but we tend just to use it for food storage. The cupboards either side are for more dry goods. We tend to have tea and coffee on one side along with our treats, and I did go to Dunelm and buy these undershelf wire baskets that fit underneath. These shelves here and here are ones that we added as well. It was just a big cavernous space that putting a shelf in has just made it a bit more usable for how we want to use it. In the top cupboard here we have our toaster, because you can't go away for 6 weeks and not have Marmite on toast at least, 5 times. And we've got our first aid kit as well. Above me is an Omnivan, and this came with the van. It's really good for sucking air out or bringing air in, just cool you down. We've also added IKEA baskets. They attach to the wall with suction. One of our very favourite things, and I promise we've never had an accident, is a magnetic block for our knives. Again, this was from IKEA. Dead cheap and really, really strong and usable. You'll also spot our meter probe. This is a probe that goes in meat while you're cooking it. There's an app, it tells you when your meat's done, gives you lots of options. Fantastic piece of kit. My least favourite feature of the van is probably this cupboard. It's a really weird size and really not fantastic. It's very skinny, it's wire. I just shove the cleaning things in there really. At the bottom we keep 3 5-litre fresh water bottles, and that's where we keep our drinking water because we don't drink the water from the tap. The cooker has 3 gas hobs and 1 electric. It's got a gas grill and a gas oven. One thing we did get, another B&M bargain, was just a drying mat. This is fine, it takes up no space, and also if you're worried about rattles, sometimes you can be, you can keep it underneath and that just limits some of the rattles. Below the cooker we keep our utensils. It's just a hodgepodge of utensils, no organisation, but it's just a space to put them. And below the fridge we have our pan drawer. Now we've got really good Tefal stacking pans. They all stack one within the other, and they've got detachable handles so you can move them around and not have them taking up space in the cupboard. We also have a very fancy new kettle that plays a tune when the water's boiling. I'm really excited to try that out. Currently we have a 3-way fridge. It works on gas, 12 volt while we're travelling, and on mains electric too. This one is very fancy because it can open both ways. However, this is something that we are going to upgrade very soon. We're looking at getting a compressor fridge because at the higher temperatures it will be more efficient and less likely to fail. The fridge also has a built-in freezer that again can be accessed from both sides.
Above the fridge freezer is my tech cupboard, and I've put a plate on the back of the wall, and I use magnets to be able to magnet everything on and charge the batteries and the lighting that we use for the videos.
One of the things we bought on a whim when we first bought the van was a new fancy vacuum cleaner. It's too small. It doesn't get everywhere we need it, so I'm on the lookout for something a bit bigger. In the middle of the van we had a Truma air conditioning unit fitted. It was fitted at Broad Lane, our dealers, by a Truma person. The hole that it goes into was actually very small, so we did have to cut a bigger hole into the roof, but it's been perfect. The bathroom is one of the biggest compromises in this van. The toilet is not a very comfortable position. It's actually quite cramped in there. Other little features that we've added in here are a SOG system. Now that's a button that we press that sucks the air out. It's a fan that goes underneath the toilet through a charcoal filter, and then it sucks the air out and sends it outside, so you don't get the nasty smells. We also have some hooks that we've added. We use the shower as our washing basket. We actually have a basket in there, it's not just the shower, but we keep our washing basket in the shower, which keeps everything a little more tidy and all in one place. We also have 2 octopuses that we got from IKEA. These click up, so they're the new style, and when they unclip you've just got a decent drying space, so it's great for pants, socks, swimming costumes, the lot when you're traveling. At the rear of the van we have a second lounge. Now we hardly ever have it like this at all. I think the only time we'd have it like this is when Steve and I are traveling alone. We tend to leave the back cushions at home, and this is a permanent bedroom for our teenagers. Above the beds and the sofas in the rear lounge we've got a locker each. Apart from George, he's got 2 because he's got a toy cupboard and he's got his own cupboard. These are perfect. When we're traveling in the summer we don't need a lot of clothes, so it's just underwear, pants, shorts, just a few things that we need. We also have 2 wardrobes. Now in one side we have the kind of things that do need hanging, and I also have a little bit of extra cosmetic space, and we use this as an overflow wardrobe. We also use it for storing the shared things like the projector and the switch, that kind of thing.
And talking about the projector, I've put this screen on the back window, and all we do is slide this table out here and plonk the projector on there, and the boys then can play their games on the screen in the back of the camper van. I also have a screen here so I can keep my eye on the electrics and what the load is, but I'll show you that in a minute on the outside.
The van also came with cushions. We never travel with these as well. These stay at home and they're out of her way. I'd love to be the kind of person who enjoys cushions, but they just get in the way. In our last van, the fridge wasn't very effective at high temperatures, and it was also quite small for a family of 5. So we bought an extra fridge. It works on 240 and also on 12 volts. It's been fantastic. And now we just use it as a drinks fridge in here. Behind it is access to the garage, but we don't need to access the garage from in here very often at all.
There are many of these lights like this one here that have USB, and more over here. And there are more USB sockets here. In fact, I think I counted over 30 USB sockets in this whole van. It's got way more USB sockets than you can shake a stick at.
Okay, I'm going to switch this into the bedroom mode so you can see how we use it when we travel as a family of 5. One thing we do when we do use these as beds is turn the cushions over, because the flatter side is a little more comfortable than the lovely silky but ridged topper side.
So the van does come with carpets throughout, but we took them straight out. They were quite light, and what I did is we completely removed the kitchen one, and then I got a carpet binder to make me some new carpets for the back and for the front of the van, which are now grey. So we did them ourselves. You just need to find somebody that does carpet binding in your area. Go to a local carpet shop, get a bit of off-cut carpet and take it to them and they'll bind it. I think they charged me about £80–90.
And we all have these cushions, because if something isn't dual purpose in your van, it's probably not worth having. But these are fantastic. They just zip open and they're lovely lightweight quilts, duvets for the summer. So this is the bedroom that the boys have most of the time. We leave it like this when we're travelling as well. One thing we can do is make it completely dark by closing the blinds on both sides and the one above the bed.
And underneath the seats there's plenty of storage. Under this one we mainly have the kids' inflatables, we've got ropes, we got all kinds of toys in there for the boys. And in this side I keep the disc lock, and I also keep the Starlink here as well. And just under the disc lock is the Sergeant control panel. So that's what's under there. And we also have the Aldi central heating boilers under this one too. What it was before we did our big electrical upgrade, this one right here had the batteries in, but now that's freed up that cupboard for the boys to keep their toys in. And under this side is where we have the small garage, and there's access from the outside there where we've got the tables here, we've got the chairs, and we've also got a couple of extra wine holders for additional wine, which you need of course. And this nice big skylight opens like this to get a nice bit of fresh air, but what I sometimes do as well is I'll put the Starlink out here and just on the roof, so it's nice and easy.
So George sleeps on this sofa underneath, as it's just as a single bed. So the first thing I need to do is find somewhere to store the big cushions on the backrest. Again, George has a cushion that unzips into a lovely blanket. So you might remember in our old van that we had a bed that was over the cab, and then we had a dinette area, and above the dinette area were extra cupboards. Now we have lost those, but the garage space at the back more than makes up for it. In night mode, George sleeps under us. He has this as a single bed. Again, he has a cushion that he can snuggle up under, and our bed drops down and he feels nice and safe. It's an electric drop down bed, which feels very fancy still, even after a year. You access this bed by climbing a ladder. It does lock into place, so it feels nice and secure. One thing I will say, these rungs are not comfortable on bare feet. So if this is something that you're considering for yourself, you might want to just bear that in mind. This bed is actually almost tall enough that we can sit up comfortably. I can, Steve's probably a little bit taller. He sleeps on this side and gets out via the ladder. I'm still quite young, so I can hop off the other side and climb under if I need, rather than climbing over him if I need a wee in the night. If you ever come into bed with us, you'll also find cushions up here too. At both ends of the bed there is a nice little shelf and 2 USB ports, so you can charge whatever you need to on it. There is a safety net that you can attach to the clips here, but we tend not to use it too much. This seat belt here is an extra safety feature and locks the bed into position when we're travelling. And because this is a motorhome and no one space is one thing, I'm going to turn this into our travelling mode as well.
A few moments later.
And there we have it, 5 forward-facing travelling seats. The 3 seats in the back tuck under when it's a sofa and pop up when we are travelling.
And this is where we store the cushions, in the back when we're travelling. Okay, the door on this model is a lot wider than previous, so it's a lot easier getting in and out. You got a 230 volt external socket there. Right here is your toilet cassette, so easy emptying of your toilet. Right here we got an external gas barbecue point, ideal for cooking. And here's access to the garage part, which is under the seats, where we store the cooker, the chairs and the tables and stuff like that. And comes the garage. In the garage it's quite stocked at the minute. We keep a carpet in there, there's our screen cover. But we've also got our storage boxes for easy storage. These are really useful boxes, I found them. And in here we've got our benches, our table and benches, which is just ideal. We love our table and benches. Keep an eye out, there is a video coming soon on all the accessories that we use in our van, guys, so that'll be coming soon for you. At the back we've got a lovely big window, but of course I've covered that with a screen for the projector for the boys. But that easily comes down with a bit of Velcro. We've also got a tow bar on here, which we use for our bike rack, because you cannot put a bike rack on here. But we're also considering getting a tow car, so watch this space. And probably my favourite part of the van is this cupboard here. This is our big electrical upgrade. I'll put a link in the description to the video when we had this done. But in a nutshell here, we've got some smart controllers here which charge the batteries from the engine. We've got our MPPT controllers here, which they charge the batteries from the solar. And then the gubbins, the whole control units, and this means I can access this from anywhere in the world. Over this side we've got our inverter, and in there we've got 3 320 amp hour lithium batteries, giving us 960 amp hours of usable battery power. And that's charged with the solar we got on the roof. We've got 950 watts of solar on the roof. Right here's the vent for the Truma gas boiler. Underneath is where you plug your mains power in when you come to a campsite, and here's the vents for the fridge and the freezer. Right here you've got an external shower point, and right here is the gas locker where we have a small 6 kilogram cala and also a refillable gas bottle too. And right here is where we fill up with fresh water. And I just love the new graphics on this model. It was a facelift last year, and I think they've done an amazing job with these graphics. It looks 3D when you look at it in certain places like that. And last but not least, I know a lot of you are asking about this Ring doorbell. Well, what happened was I had a spare Ring doorbell lying around when I upgraded the one at home. So I stuck it on the motorhome. And it's been handy to keep an eye on things whilst we're out and about.
So there you have it. That's a whistle-stop tour of our van and the changes and improvements that we've added.
Yes. Now we'll be doing a video real soon about some of the essential motorhome accessories that we take with us. So keep your eye out for that and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you've got any questions about what you've seen today, then drop them in the comments below. We've put a 5mm fire extinguisher down here. These are quite handy because you just put a soda stream cartridge in it and you give them a little twist. Oh.
Currently we have a 3-way fridge. That means it works on gas, 12 volt and 240.
Do that again.
Is it 240?
It is. But
yeah. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Got lost halfway through.
when the engine's running.
Yeah. Okay. Currently we have a 3-way fridge. Currently we have a... We've also got... I hope there's bloopers for this.